Andrew. How are you?
Hello, where are you from?
I'm from Israel.
Okay, and I'm from. I know who you are. Where in Israel are you from?
Tel Aviv, next to Tel Aviv.
Okay, what would you like to say about Israel Palestine? Please use TikTok friendly words.
No, I just wanted to actually to ask you what do you think about the warrants that was issued by the ICC?
Listen, I think Netanyahu's not going to get arrested, just like Putin wasn't arrested. I think a court that can't enforce its orders is a kangaroo court because I don't know if anybody who's ever gotten an arrest warrant by the ICJ,
It's the
whatever.
first time they ever issued the warrant.
Hold on, they arrested one. They issued one against Putin too. I don't think a court. I think a court. I don't know if anybody who's ever gotten an arrest warrant through the ICJ has ever gotten arrested. Because again, Putin didn't get arrested. I've never heard of anybody else who got an arrest warrant through them who ever got arrested. So it's just like it's all words. Now I know that people say they're going to arrest Netanyahu, but I just don't see it happening. And also the fact that they put an arrest warrant against people who are no longer alive, it's just a joke. And also, I think this as well. I wrote this on Twitter. I think, like, for example, the Canadian guy, whatever the prime
Yes,
minister,
Trudeau.
I think what's going to happen is now what Israel's going to do, and Canada had like a lot of balls to sit there and say, we're going to arrest him. They could have just kept their mouth shut, right? I think
Yeah.
now what Israel's going to do in response is Israel's going to now, like, like recall the Canadian ambassador and not let like Canadian human rights workers in. You know how Israel does that when like a country does something that ticks off Israel, Israel will recall their ambassador and not let their human rights workers in and so on and so forth. So in the end, all those people who are trying to help the Palestinians on the Canadian side, they won't be able to help the Palestinians. So who's going to suffer? Not Netanyahu. It's going to be the Palestinians again because they won't have any of those help from the Canadians. So every country who sits there and says, we're going to, I mean, they could just keep it to themselves that they're going to arrest Netanyahu if he comes to their country. But every country who sits there like Canada does and says, we're going to arrest Netanyahu if he comes, they're probably going to face, consequences from Israel. And then who's going to suffer? It's going to be the Palestinians because their workers aren't going to be able to come help the Palestinians if they have workers that do. So honestly, it's Netanyahu. He's not going to get arrested.
Ridiculous, I know, but also, sorry, Sweden and also the Netherlands announced today that if Netanyahu will enter their country, they will arrest him. It's such a joke.
Again, I think honestly, all these countries, Israel's just going to sanction their ambassadors and sanction their workers. And again, all it's going to do is, again, it'll just affect the Palestinians. It's not going to affect Israel. I mean, okay, so these people, again, so these people will lose trade with Israel. They'll lose their this. Listen, do these people sell anything to Israel? Do they sell what? Like, how do these people help Israel at all? They're not helping Israel now. Israel's going to lose nothing. It's the Palestinians they're going to lose.
It's more of a issue in the
Does
world.
Netanyahu even go to Canada, Sweden, or the Netherlands? I've never heard of him going there. Like
No,
I feel
no.
like Netanyahu's not going to lose here. In the end, the people who are going to lose are the Palestinians.
And the thing is that they're accusing Israel for starvation of the Palestinian people, and it's not true because Israel
I know it's
claims
not true because the people who monitor famine in countries already said that there's no that they thought there could have been a famine, but they said turned out a famine never happened. And this
no,
is
Israel is sending trucks every week to Gaza with supply.
I know that, but what I'm saying is the people who monitor the famine said that a famine never happened. So the bottom line is that it's just the whole thing is just listen. The head of the ICJ, he's obviously biased. I mean,
Of course.
it's a whole thing. So honestly, I just think that it's again the people who are going to end up losing here are the Palestinians. That's the bottom line. Nobody else but the Palestinians are going to lose. That's who's going to lose is the Palestinians. The Israel's not going to lose. The Palestinians, and Ben Gvir is now saying let's make more settlements because of this ICJ ruling.
Yes.
So there'll be
it's
more
the same.
settlements. So again, the Palestinians will lose.
Do you think this war will ever end?
Um,
Why do you think they don't
I
free
think
the
there's going to be
hostages?
I think
You know,
there's
they
going to be,
offered $5 million for each hostage.
but I don't think that the Palestinians will take $5 million from Netanyahu, because I think somehow the Palestinians think that if they turn over a hostage and go for the ransom, Netanyahu will somehow accuse them of being part of it, and will turn around and will arrest them. I don't think they trust Netanyahu.
Do you think they trust Hamas?
I mean, age group, you have to use TikTok friendly language.
Oh,
I think
sorry.
they trust age group more than they trust Netanyahu.
We saw the consequences of trusting age group.
Well, listen, I think maybe they don't trust the age group, but they trust age group more than they trust Netanyahu.
Oh God, we're just hoping that they will free the hostages now. It's more than 400 days already, and it's
I
like
hear you, but personally, I think most of the hostages are unalived. That's
you
my
think
opinion.
so?
Yeah, I think most of the hostages are probably gone by now. I think H group tries to act like there's more of them because they want more of a bargaining chip, but I think most of them are probably gone by now. That's my opinion. I'm very sad to say that, but I think most of them are probably. That's truly what I believe. Most of them are probably. It's very. I'm very sad saying that, but I think that's true. And Donald Trump said that too several months ago.
Really?
The thing is, H group needs bargaining chips. I honestly don't think H group is going to give up all the hostages, even if someone said that would end the war, because I think H group wants hostages for prisoner exchanges. So I think they want to hold on to at least one or two hostages, at least if not more, because they want prisoner exchanges. They don't want to let go of all the hostages. Remember what they got for, what was his name? Shalit? Was that his name?
Yes,
Well,
Gilad
that's the
Shalit.
prisoners. So they want to at least hold on to one or two hostages that they feel are very important, or that they would get a lot of trade for. So
1,000 Palestinian prisoners in
right,
exchange for one
1,000.
soldier.
So they want to hold on
And
to.
you know, these 1,000 prisoners, among them was Yahya Sinwar.
Right. So that's the thing. They want to hold on, even after the war, probably, to some hostages.
The thing is that I don't think the people of Israel, because you know all the families now still waiting every
I
night.
want to say one more thing about the hostages. I feel like I'm not a big fan of Netanyahu, but I feel like he's being a prime minister in a very, very tough time where he's making the hardest decisions. And I feel like if anybody were prime minister, whether it was Netanyahu, Lapid, Bennett, Gantz, everybody would be mad at him because they haven't gotten the hostages out. Which is not 1, 2, 3, you get the hostages out. Everybody's blaming Netanyahu because Netanyahu's like
Not everybody blaming Netanyahu, only the left.
Let me just finish. The people who are blaming Netanyahu, they're blaming him because he's like the manager of the restaurant. You know, when you're in a restaurant, you don't blame the dishwasher, you don't blame the waitress, you don't blame the chef, you go to the manager. So everybody's blaming him because he's the manager, right? He's the one you can go send all your complaints to, you know? So I feel like people are just scapegoating him, and they're like, Netanyahu, get the hostages out. That's why I feel like the hostage families are aiming all their anger to Netanyahu, because that's the one they can scream at. But Netanyahu can't just get the hostages out like 1, 2, 3. He's trying, but it's not within his power. And I feel like whoever would be prime minister right now, people would be angry at him because the hostages aren't out. Netanyahu's not a prophet. He can't do miracles. He's trying the best he can. And I feel like even though Netanyahu hasn't done everything perfect, he's made some bad decisions like removing Gallant, he's doing the best he can in a very bad situation. And I think people need to give him a little slack.
The majority of the people of Israel support Benjamin Netanyahu. The majority. It's more than 70%.
I hear what you're saying. I don't know how factual that is, but I hear what you're saying.
Trust me.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that for the people who are blaming him, and I do blame him for some things as a Jew in diaspora, I think people need to cut him a little slack because I think he's doing the best he can do in a very, 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 very bad situation.
Yeah, I hope that...
I don't think it's his fault that the hostages aren't out. I think he's trying the best he can do.
Of course. And I thank God that he is the prime minister in Israel now and not nobody else, somebody else.
Okay.
Thank you for your lives. I listen to them very often.
Okay. I'm glad you
Bye.
like it. Okay, take care.
You too. Bye.